Hey friends, this is Mary from the Mary Movement Podcast. We tell true stories that will inspire, encourage, and warm your heart. So join the movement at themarymovement.com.
Big thanks to Turntable for sponsoring today's podcast. Make sure you contact them to meet your hospitality and catering needs. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram at Turntable LLC or on Twitter at Turntable EVV. And if you haven't had a chance to check out their food, it is quite amazing. Go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, check out the pictures, and trust me, the food tastes better than it looks, and it looks amazing. So thanks again to Turntable for sponsoring today's show. Now, on to Courtney Johnson. Courtney Johnson.
Thank you for having me.
Long time coming here.
I know. It's supposed to happen a long time ago, but I'm here now. So
yeah, that's what matters, right? Everything in its proper time. So you do a lot of things. What most people probably recognize you from is the Young and Established.
Yep.
Is this your creation then?
Yeah, it's been about almost 5 years now since I started. God put a vision on me to come back home and to start a movement. Actually, I tell people all the time it was a movement that turned into a group that turned into a nonprofit. So didn't really know what direction I was headed in. I just had a passion for giving back and helping people. So it made sense for me to come home and help people that I've been knowing. I mean, family, friends. It's different when you're helping people that you're familiar with and people that you grew up with instead of going to some city and just kind of piggybacking off of what somebody else is doing.
Sure.
So yeah, it's been about 5 years and we've accomplished a lot. I feel like we've had a huge impact in the city and we want to continue to do that.
Now, you mentioned coming back, you grew up in Evansville, right?
Grew up in Evansville, but when I went to school, I went to Kentucky Wesleyan first and then I transferred to Indiana State. So I was at Indiana State for a few years and I didn't come home much except for the holidays.
Sure.
And there was a lot of things that was going on back at home, but obviously, even if you're just an hour or 2 hours away, you're not home. So I was hearing about all the things that were going on, but I wasn't here. So
gotcha.
When I came back, I went to USI and finished up at USI. So that's when I really got like hands on and really involved in the community. So
and then you mentioned how it's coming back and starting something. A lot of times, if people know you, it's hard to listen to. People right? I mean, have you run into that at all, or have it been pretty accepting, I guess? I
feel like for the most part, people have been accepting. I know when I first got started, I didn't know what I was doing. I tell people all the time, having a nonprofit, it was just a learning experience. Yeah. I didn't know anything about a 501c3. I didn't know where to start. Mm-hmm. Getting a lawyer, getting an LLC, getting things trademarked, like that kind of stuff I didn't learn that like in school or anything. So I had to do my own research and I had to reach out to people. But I feel like for the most part, people support it when I first was getting started. And the community is the reason why I feel like we thrive because people really believe in what we're doing. And obviously you can see the support through our annual events, our fundraisers and whatnot. So without the community, I don't think we would have been able to accomplish like most of the things that we've accomplished thus far.
Yeah. So what did you go to school for then?
I went to Indiana State for PR, so public relations. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just kind of wanted to get involved with communications, and I love speaking. So I'm like, I might as well just jump into that. And then when I came here, I got into radio and TV at USI. So this is a passion of mine, man. Yeah. Being on a podcast, radio, TV, any of that stuff, man. I have a passion for it. So that's my other passion besides helping people. Yeah.
Well, it's hard for people that don't. I mean, you either comfortable or you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when the cameras are on. I guess that's harder. I know there's certain people that can be on TV, and there's certain people like us like me that can't. TV's not as comfortable.
It's a little different. I tell people even before I took the classes and whatnot, I was comfortable, but there was little things that I was taught. And just little things as far as being on TV, saying and rocking back and forth. Right. Like little things that you just don't even notice, even though you're comfortable, is the stuff that you would do. And I feel like that helped me a lot, just taking those classes. And there was some great professors out there at USI. And the school is just a great school all the way around. But I love radio. And again, I want to kind of tap into that. So I'm happy I'm on the podcast for the first time, and hopefully it's not the last. Yeah,
well, we'll see
definitely.
how the ratings are. So the Young and Established, you do a lot of things in the community. Most recently, I guess, that I'm aware of at least, is the backpack drive.
Definitely.
So where does this come from for you? Why are you so, I guess, community minded?
So like the certain like events as far as the backpack drive, those are just things that I see in the community when I'm doing different things as far as, I didn't even mention the mentoring. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I just see things that I can be a part of or that I need to create to either get people involved or help others. So the backpack drive, for example, I think that was our fourth or fifth. It's so many different things, man. I think that was our fifth one. And the whole partnership with the library, I thought it was a good idea. I'm a huge reader. I live close to the library, so I'm in there, the Central Library. I'm in there all the time. So I thought it would be a good idea to partner with them as far as getting the kids in the library. So the whole thing was to have the backpack drive inside the library, but you couldn't get a backpack unless you went through the line as far as getting a library card. So
yeah, good idea.
Some kids don't have access to Wi-Fi. They don't go to the library. They've never been in the library and don't understand the resources that are in the library as far as just books alone, man. I mean, that's just so much knowledge in there. And I try to get my kids that I mentor in there, but just having the backpack drive there, you have 400 to 500 some people. Most of them have been in the library, but the library was amazing with waiving fees, getting these kids signed up for library cards, and just having books out there that most kids might be interested in. So that was the whole plan, as far as not only just supplying school supplies and backpacks, but getting kids signed up for library cards and waiving fees, man. So we did about 457, I think, backpacks. And I can't remember the number as far as how many kids got signed up for library cards, but I mean, it was a huge turnout, man. We started at 4. People were there at 150 or 130, something like that. Gosh. So it was crazy. It was packed.
I remember seeing pictures I was like, that is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of people, man. It was a little stressful for the library. They wasn't expecting so many different people, but yeah, it was packed out.
So you mentioned reading, and that is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because I see whenever you post about like the books you're reading now and all of that. So where do you find these books, or is this does somebody like give you ideas, or are you just finding these? Or?
I just find them, man. It's crazy because I never used to like to read growing up. I was not a big reader. Yeah. But one of the things that I tell people, once you find a book that you're interested in, I'm a huge John Maxwell fan. Okay. I mean, he's big on leadership. And I picked up one of his books and just fell in love, man. And I told myself I'm going to read every single one of his books, not knowing that he has hundreds of books. So it's like, I haven't read all the books yet, but I read a lot of them, and then that just continued. So I just pick up a lot of books that can inspire me, motivational books, and just stuff that can pretty much just uplift me. And I tell people, once you find that book that you really can fall in love with, you'll continue to pick up books, and that's kind of what happened with me.
One of the other things that you guys did was recently, I guess, was the Boys to Men conference. Oh yeah, and so I know that. I mean that has just the concept alone. Combines mentoring and it combines the helping out with the youth. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? How that came to be?
So I saw that in Chicago. Actually, there was a Boys to Men conference that they did a long time ago, and I wanted to do it last year, but it came up so fast. I wanted to do it in the summertime when kids were not in school, but we have the Dust Bowl, which is one of our big events. So that was coming up, and we had to prepare for that. So I wasn't able to do it last year, but this year I was like, I have to make it happen. So the thing is, I mentor 11 kids, and then I see that there's a lot of kids that need mentors as well. So I'm like, how can I reach more kids without getting more kids, because 11 is already too much. But so the thing was, I wanted to pour into some young men and figure out how we could do that. And the thing was just have a workshop, or have a few workshops, bring people in to speak to these kids. So we had 3 fast-paced workshops. Alex Burton, huge shout out to him. Josh Calhoun,
cousin Alex.
Yeah, that's it. Cousin Alex. He jumped on board. Josh Calhoun jumped on board, and then a frat brother of mine from Western Kentucky, which he's an All-American. He came down and spoke to the kids. So we had professionalism. We talked about professionalism, making the right choices, and just a bunch of different things. So one of the workshops, Josh Calhoun did an amazing job as far as teaching kids how to tie ties and just teaching them the basics that you and I probably grew up. If you had a father figure, I mean, my father taught me how to tie a tie and those kind of things. So Josh just did an amazing job with that. And then, like I said, Alex talking about making the right choices. A lot of kids don't get that. They don't hear that. So I thought it was just a great idea to have that, man. Sauce came through with the food. We had a vendor. We had a vendor back out last minute. And again, I'm one of those guys that kind of just go with the flow, man. I don't panic. I don't stress. I made a Facebook post, and Samantha Bennett, she's an amazing person, made it all happen, man. She put it on her Facebook, and within 30 minutes, I mean, we had food, water, everything. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that being home and doing some of the things that we're doing, I mean, you just have so many people that support you. And that just alone right there is a perfect example of why we're doing what we're doing is important. And we just have so much support. So, yeah, that was amazing, man. And it turned out pretty good. We had about 60-something kids. The goal was 50 because the first one we kind of wanted to just start small, which that's really not small, but 60 kids, 60 plus kids, man, in there, really just empowering them, and they left inspired. You could just feel it, and they were excited. Like, when's the next one? So that's in the plans right now as far as trying to get another one planned before the year is up. Yeah,
not one and done kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. We got to keep that going for sure.
In this Dust Bowl, that's you and Alex as well?
Basically, Alex and I brought it back. The history of the Dust Bowl, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's some history behind the Dust Bowl. It's been going on, man, probably before I was even born. I was a little dude going up to the Dust Bowls, and it was mainly just basketball. You would go watch basketball, and you have all your friends there. It was a week-long tournament. You had people from all over the tri-state playing in this tournament, and it was just fun to be out there and hang out. But, of course, you got a lot of people in one place. Things will happen. And make a long story short, there was an incident. A young man was shot and killed at the Dust Bowl. And this was, I'm terrible with dates and stuff, man. It was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And they took the Dust Bowl away. And it was just an event that people look forward to in the summertime. It was always in the inner city, at a park, Belmead or Parkside. And people always look forward to going. So when they took it away, a lot of people were just devastated, man. And they were asking, like, if we're ever going to have it. And I'm like, well, or if we're ever going to get it back. And I'm like, we might as well go ahead and do it and bring it back. So at the time, I started Together We'll Stop the Violence campaign. There was a lot of violence going on, not only in Evansville, but in Chicago, Indianapolis, where a lot of my friends and stuff are at. And I was like, I might as well start our own campaign through Young and Established. So we did that. And then I thought it would be a great idea to bring back the Dust Bowl since it ended because of violence. So I reached out to Chief Bolin. And we had a sit down with the president of NAACP, which is Reverend Arnold. He was at the time. And we just talked. And I told them that I think it'd be a good idea. But also, if we bring the police on board, it would help with the relationships as far as the police in the community. So there was a lot of things that just tied into us bringing them back. And we didn't want it to just be about basketball. So we made it more of a family environment as far as getting vendors, getting not just food vendors, but USI, Ivy Tech, Veteran, having these people come up there and with their information and just building those relationships. So it really turned out pretty good, man. This was our 4th year this year, and it just continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. So huge shout out to EPD and Chief Bolin, because he was really all for it. And after we had that meeting, I just went ahead and kept the ball rolling. So
And you're doing other things with the police department as well, right?
Yeah, Uniting Evansville is an organization. We're going to be a 501c3 soon, but there's another organization that was started with a good group of guys, and also there was a young lady that was on board at the time. But that was the same thing, building relationships. We wanted to bridge the gap between the police and people in the community. So we got a great group of people together, and we created Uniting Evansville. It's funny because it started off as a conversation from the Dust Bowl. A police officer, Josh Brewer, which is a good friend of mine, reached out to me, and we had a sit down with a mutual friend, and we just had a conversation. The conversation led into another conversation that led into us getting a group of people together, and then Uniting Evansville was born. So it's just those kind of things that take place, man. And I tell people I don't plan these things, or we didn't have this plan, but great things come from just relationships and conversation. So that's what happened, and we're still doing some things out in the community, and that organization is getting bigger by the day too.
Yeah, no, I went to one of them where it was like a roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting because you had a police officer at each table, and then they were able to just talk with, and you could talk with about whatever you wanted to, really.
Anything.
Yeah, and it went really well. I thought. I mean, there were some grievances at the table we had, but it was nice to be able to see that kind of collaboration.
Definitely. And we tell people all the time, I think it starts with relationships. That's one of the biggest things as far as with mentoring. I know with my kids, they didn't know a police officer by a first name basis. So I know growing up, I knew Chief Bolin or Billy Bolin and some other police officers. And I think it's important because you got to know like a police officer. I feel like you should know a police officer by a first name basis. And a lot of them didn't. A lot of people in the community don't. And that was one of our things, is just really letting people know that at the end of the day, Josh is Josh. He's not the police officer Josh or anything like that. So I feel like when you get a relationship with someone, you build a relationship, that helps. And just building that trust and everything else comes with that. So that was the whole thing with Uniting Evansville. And not only that, but the Dust Bowl and having the police on board with us, bringing back the Dust Bowl was important. So
so there's a couple of things I usually like to ask people here. One of them is there, Evansville specifically, is there like a hidden gem or thing going on in Evansville that you think people don't know about that they should know about?
There's a lot of things. As far as I would say hidden gem, I tell people one of the best things about Evansville, people think it's a big little city. I tell people that all the time, but what other city can you just connect and make these connections? Like, I mean, I have the mayor's number in my phone. I have Chief Bolin's number in my phone. Like, I think if I was in a bigger city, the things that I'm trying to do would be way more difficult than it is being here in Evansville, and just being able to reach out and make those connections. If I don't know the person, there's somebody that I do know that knows that person that can make that connection. So I think that's one of the gems, man, just networking and putting yourself out there. And Evansville is a great place if you're trying to create and build something. And I tell people all the time that I love the city, man, and it's home. So doing the things that I'm doing is it's beautiful to see it grow in the city that I grew up in. So people always ask, are you leaving, or why you not in a bigger city and this and that? And I'm like, I'm here for a reason, man. God brought me back here for a reason. And when you know your purpose, it's like, you know what you're here for. And that's what I tell people. So the gym, I think, for that is you can make some great connections here in Evansville, and not saying you can't do that in other cities, but it's definitely a lot easier to do it here. And you have some support and some people that will get behind what you're doing. So
yeah, I saw you at the Ease for Everyone launch a couple months ago. And I don't know if you've been much involved with it since then. What do you think about that whole?
I'm big on branding, man. So I love the whole concept of trying to brand the city of Evansville, and I'm actually getting more involved. I just went to an event that they had as far as giving out more information on how you can get involved, and Ross Chapman was a part of that, and Mary as well. And I mean, I think it's great. The whole branding thing is something that I feel like we need. And I don't think it hurts. So to have a brand and to have something that people can be a part of and get behind. So anytime somebody is trying to do something positive, I'm all for it. And I think some people are afraid of change. So anytime you're doing something that people are not familiar with, or it's something that, again, is going to change things, people are afraid of that. So I think a lot of people are behind it, and the right people are pushing it, and more and more people are going to get behind it. So, I mean, they have my support for sure, and I'm going to do more as far as getting involved with that.
Okay. One thing I did want to ask you, when I was looking up stuff about Young and Established, Josh Perkins from Gonzaga, how'd that happen?
Man, to be honest, Jaquan is a good friend, and just him playing with him, I met him at a game. This is when they were in high school still. Okay. I think, I don't know if they were still in high school or what. I met him through Jaquan, basically. And he was like, I love what you guys are doing, and I want to support it. So to be honest, he still is in contact with us. He still follows the page, and he's still, like, I reached out when they were in the Final Four, and I reached out, And I mean, they still support. And I tell people all the time, social media is amazing, man. There's people.
It's crazy.
Victor Haladipo, like he supports. We got Paul George. There's a lot of like people, not just basketball players either, but there's a lot of people that through social media, man, or through knowing the right people,
right?
You can get in contact with these guys, man. Our women as well.
It's a smaller world all the time, right?
Definitely, man.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Josh Perkins, he's a guard for Gonzaga, and they were in they were playing in the championship against North Carolina. And
they lost.
I don't want to talk about the result as a Duke fan, but go Zags. I thought it was pretty cool though. I was like, wow, you got quite the reach.
Yeah, man. We try to get as many people as we can on board, even if it's just wearing a T-shirt. Sure, man, it's still supporting.
Branding, man. Like
that's what it's all about. The branding piece, man.
And is there something in Evansville not in Evansville that you wish we had?
I tell people if there's something that I wish we had, I'm either trying to be a part of it or I either try to create it. I think having the Promise Zone here, that's huge. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how much time we got. I'm gonna go into the whole Promise Zone thing, but I think the Promise Zone and what they're doing downtown is great. And I just feel like with the kids, I have a passion for helping people, man. There's not a lot for the kids to do, and the kids that I mentor and the kids that I'm around 24/7. I'm in the schools, outside of school, I'm hanging with certain kids, and growing up, there was a lot, man. I mean, as far as roller skating, there was right next to Bellmead Park. Now it's the Boys and Girls Club, but there was a ton of things for us to do, and I noticed, and this is not just me speaking from experience, but just as far as kids too that I talk to, they have nothing to do. So I don't know if there's a certain thing that I would say, but I would just say there's more. I wish there was more for the kids to do. Right. Because, I mean, this summer kind of proved that there was a lot of kids that didn't have anything to do. So when you don't have anything to do, you sometimes tend to get in some trouble. But I would just say, man, trying to create more things for our youth and giving them something to do. And I know there's a lot of great things out here, but again, it wouldn't hurt to have more, because I know there's a lot of kids, again, that I mentor and that I'm around that tell me these things. They wish they had this, or I wish we had somewhere to go on the weekends and those kind of things. So that would be the only thing that I would say, bringing something for our youth. So, and I'm trying to work on some stuff too. I mean, I can't do it all, but I'm definitely trying. Yeah, I'm trying to put something in place too to give back and do something for these kids. Yeah, man.
Do you ever sleep, or is this
I don't. I tell people all the time, I don't even need that much sleep. I'm 4 or 5 hours. That's really all I need. That would be nice. Yeah, that's it. That's all I need to keep going. And I tell people I have a whole routine, man. When I get up in the morning, I go through the process. Of course, I pray first and do my push-ups, and first thing I do if I touch my phone is turn on like a motivational speaker or something, Les Brown, TD Jakes or somebody. I don't wake up and go straight to my phone. I tell people I will be overwhelmed because of the emails and all of that. So I go through the whole process of just my daily routine of getting my mind and stuff right before I actually touch my phone and get out here and go to work. So I think that keeps me grounded, because it can definitely be stressful, man. I didn't even name everything, but I'm a part of the Promise Zone, freelance marketing. I have a nonprofit. I have a mentoring program. And those are just a few of the things that I'm doing. But, I mean, you can be overwhelmed, man, for sure, with people reaching out, emails, phone calls, and then social media and all of that. Like, I have a lot of different accounts for myself, personal accounts, my nonprofit, and then other things that I do as well. So it can drain you, man.
I wasn't thinking about that. The people reaching out aspect of it
daily.
Daily. I mean, not that it's not a bad thing, but it can be, if it's draining, just because it's taking your resources and
for sure. And it's something I tell people. I'm one of those guys that if somebody reaches out to me, I feel like I need to answer back. I mean, there's people that ask me questions about Young and Established, or how they can get involved, or even how I got started with some of the stuff that I'm doing, or just basic, simple questions. I just wanted to get to know me. So when I tell people that there's a lot going on. Like, I really mean it. I do have a lot going on as far as just my personal life and then everything that I'm trying to accomplish and do.
Yeah.
So
do you get to have a personal life? Do you get to?
I do. I feel like my family, man, I spend a lot of time with my family. And then one of the things also is that time I need for myself. I tell people that's why I read a lot.
Yeah.
But at night I try to shut down. And when I'm in my room, man, I'm in my room. Like, the doors are locked. I can focus and just relax. I turn my phone off, get a good book, or Netflix, man, or Hulu, or something that just
something you can kind of unplug
and just relax, man.
Yeah. Just you're like, okay, this is my time.
Yeah, you need
recharge the batteries.
That's exactly what I do, man. I try to, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, got any good book recommendations? I'm always looking.
Ooh, I got a bunch, man.
I mean, I know the John Maxwell collection.
Yeah, the John Maxwell collection, man.
But is anything recent that sticks out for you? That
I would say, People Over Profit. That was a good book. Okay. I also just read Live It. And I'm not giving you any authors. That's terrible. Love Does, Bob Goff.
I read that one, yeah.
Oh, man, that book right there changed my life.
That dude,
I got a whole
that dude
list.
Can't be real. I mean, the way you read that, you're like, how are you a real person?
I'm telling you, man, that kind of stuff inspires me. But like here, man, I got it on my phone. I just brought it up. I have a bunch of different books that I've read this year, man. I'm at 42 this year.
You're a couple ahead of me.
Yeah, man. Some of them are short reads too, I tell people, but it takes your mind to a whole nother level. And then just the stories and the knowledge that are in these books, man.
Now, you're reading all like nonfiction, motivational, or that's whatever you want to call it. But okay, you're not reading any like crime novels or
nah, man. People are trying to get me on Harry Potter, and I'm like, I haven't.
Forget it.
Yeah, I might try that later on down the road, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, like unpopular opinion alert, but you're not missing anything.
Yeah, so I haven't got there yet, but those are some of the reads that I just knocked out past couple of months, but there's a ton of them, man. There's a lot of great books out here.
And you'll post when you're reading stuff that you like. So
definitely.
If anybody was curious, they can. If they follow you, where's the best way to follow you right now? Is like any of the, I know you're like on everything.
Yeah, I'm on everything. LinkedIn, Facebook. Obviously, those are just my name, Courtney Johnson. I have Instagram, Twitter, and that's just Courtney LJ_. And then you have all the Young and Established accounts, and that's just Young and Established spelled out on our Instagram. And on our Facebook as well. And then Twitter is _ capital Y and spelled out capital E _ And definitely follow us, man. I make sure we keep everything up to date.
Yeah.
And our website, youngannestablished.com, everything is up to date on there as well. If you want to get involved and contact us, all the information is there, man. So we definitely like to encourage and get people out in the community doing different things and getting involved. So
yeah. And new stuff happening all the time.
All the time, man. Or if anybody has anything that they would like to do, I'm all up for new ideas of just putting something on.
You don't want to be bored.
Yeah. I try to stay busy, man. That's the best thing to do. I feel like staying busy is a good thing. And definitely taking that time for yourself, though. I tell people that because people don't think I do. They're like, you're doing so much for other people. Yeah. I'm like, I definitely have to recharge. I have to do stuff for me as well to keep me going, man, because if not, like I told you, I'll be drained, man, doing all the stuff that I do. So, for sure.
All right. Well, as long as I see you over at Mo's every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Huge shout out to Mo's, to Mo and Mo's house. That's a place that I definitely hang out at. It's just a good vibe and a great place. So if you haven't been there, check that out for sure.
Yeah.
I'm usually there on Thursdays and probably Friday and Saturday.
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, thanks. I appreciate you coming on.
Man, I appreciate you having me.
Good job, everybody.